If you are like us, and probably you are, you spent most of the weekend glued to the TV watching news updates about the terrorist action on the London Bridge. This, of course, only came a couple of weeks after the Manchester bombing, so these terrorist actions are happening all the time or increasingly. What was interesting, watching the news coverage of both of those things, was that all of the video that you saw and all of the stills that you saw, but certainly all the video that you saw, was done by people using smartphones. Of course, a lot of it was vertical, which is unfortunate in some ways. The whole thing is unfortunate, but the vertical is too bad. Turn your phone sideways. But the interesting thing is now that nothing can really happen without it being videoed and going on the news. If you saw the footage from the concert at Old Trafford that was the makeup for the memorial concert for the bombing, you probably saw in the audience there must have been 3,000 or 4,000 people there, and they all had smartphones, and they were all taking stills or video of the concert, no doubt to share with their friends and stuff like that. When you look at this stuff, the fact is that there are 3.5 to 4 billion smartphones in circulation now. Everybody carries them with them all the time. They are, in a way, a universal window onto the world for us. We are all effectively journalists now, and in some ways we all have an innate responsibility to share news stories and events with everyone. Well, needless to say, if you can keep your wits about you, and sometimes that's probably, I've never been in that situation, so I can't say, but I'm sure it's difficult enough while you're running away from the thing to take out the camera and start shooting video, but some people clearly do that. But more significantly, if you can keep your wits about you, you end up shooting the terrorist action or the bombing going off, or if you live in the American South, the tornado hitting your house or stuff like that. That's where the preponderance of news stories or the footage from breaking news stories come from. The idea that a news organization like CBS or NBC or the UPI or the AP could actually be in all places in the world at all times is absolutely impossible. So the fact is that up until now, what we've seen of the world, because there were so few broadcast quality cameras in circulation and they were rarely there when things happened, what we've seen of the world only represented a tiny little fraction of what was actually going on. Now we have cameras everywhere, 4 billion cameras in play 24 hours a day. Now, the interesting thing that occurs to me while looking at this is that so far these video cameras and these live videos and iPhone videos and stuff have always only been used to record bad things while they happen if you happen to have the misfortune of being there. But the fact is that this incredibly powerful tool of television and video is in everyone's hands, and we can use them not just to record the tornado hitting our house or the terrorist bomb going off or some other terrible thing that happens by accident. We can actually become proactive and use this technology to record things that we think are important for us to share with the world. And this could be something like, you're not happy with the traffic situation in your town, or the sewer thing. A lot of people who've gone through our training are using these for political purposes now, and I don't want to get political, but I would say that if you look at Sandy Bacon's stuff, she's at pretty much every town hall and rally in New York shooting video and posting it on air. That's fantastic for Sandy and fantastic for the public in general, because it provides a much broader basis for a notion of what is news and journalism than simply what places like CNN or the BBC or NBC decide that you get to see. It's really the democratization of the medium. And the more that we do this, the better. But the trick here is to move. You see the potential of the medium. We all see the potential of the technology when we look at the video from these terrible events, because that's the only way we get to see what's happening. Before iPhones, actually, we rarely got to see anything. Now we see everything. So it's time to take this enormous potential and focus it and pay attention to it and create something of much greater value than just the random terrible disaster. And that's one of the things we're trying to do with the VJ.com. We're using the website to make people what I would call video literate. That is, to take this, you have the tool, you have the technology, there's no longer any need to go out and buy broadcast quality cameras if you want to communicate your ideas in video, and there's no need to spend $65,000 a year to go to film school for 3 or 4 years. This is a crazy thing to do. So the whole point of the VJ.com, the website that we built, the online school that we built, is to democratize the medium. It's to make people video literate. It's to say you have the tool already. The technology is here, and God knows the need and the social responsibility for sharing these ideas in this medium is here. What you simply need now is the training and the education in how to do that, and that's what the website is really for. We've got 500 or 600 lessons that teach you how to do this in a whole variety of ways, and of course the technology keeps changing all the time, so we keep changing all the time too. I think video literacy is probably one of the most important skills that we're going to need for the coming decades or centuries. Television is, it may seem archaic, but video is the most powerful medium that we have ever invented. It allows me to talk to you like this directly. I don't have to, 100 years ago I'd be writing it down and hoping you would read my printed words. Now I can be direct in this kind of ironically one-to-one and yet 1 to 3 billion sort of equation. So literacy in this medium is paramount in terms of making a functional, successful 21st century democracy. And that's why we're so invested in the notion of teaching people how to get the most out of the technology and tools that you already own. If you're interested, of course, we're running our boot camp here in New York, June 21st to 24th. It's coming up fairly quickly. It's filling up pretty fast, but there are a number of spaces available. And if you have any questions ever about what to do with this thing, what you think you could do, ideas that you have, get in touch with me. I'm always happy to answer them, whether you're members of the VJetCom or not. Of course, I'm happy to answer members, the non-members, but maybe I can talk you into being a member. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow, and keep tuned in. Bye.